As senior manager in demo development and later in quality assurance at Oracle,
that gave me a good understanding of what the customer needs are. Overall, as I said, a long journey, but a pretty good one. Status quo is not acceptable unless it is the best approach proven. In climate change, awareness has to be created, not so required wasteful implementation of IoT.
hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the esteemed FaceTime with Leaders, an initiative by World Development Corporation. My name is Tanay, and I'm an anchor at World Development Corporation. FaceTime with Leaders is a platform for industry veterans to come together to share their knowledge, ideas, thoughts, and best practices with one another, as well as with upcoming industry leaders. We have one such highly acclaimed name on FaceTime with Leaders with us today, Mr. Aashish Nadkar. We welcome you on the show, sir.
Hello, Tanay. I'm happy to be here.
He is an accomplished senior IT leader with a strong background in software development, quality assurance, level 2 support, and managing SWAT teams for both cloud and on-premise solutions. In his current role, he coaches corporate leaders, executives, and senior professionals on the aspect of personal and organizational development. So, sir, our viewers would like to know in brief about your career journey, highlighting key milestones, decisive professional steps, etc.
Great. So 25 plus years of experience to put in some words. It's a little difficult, but let me try. So I started my career in academics and teaching computer programming and computer science to engineering college students. I picked up teaching as a passion, but within a few years, I actually realized that I need some industry experience to gain some knowledge, more knowledge, exposure to the industry. So that's the reason I moved into the corporate world. And I worked in multiple MNCs like Misys, Sun Microsystems, Tesco, and Oracle. So changing from training and moving into the corporate world was probably my first milestone, professional milestone. Was a little difficult for me after 6 years of being into training and development. Going into corporate world, found it a little difficult also in terms of getting that kind of a new role. But yeah, it was a good change. Then, while in the corporate circle, my main aim ultimately was to gain as much knowledge and have as much learning as possible. So I moved into various roles over the years. I worked in software development. I worked in software quality assurance. I worked in level 2 support, automation and testing at all times, then demo development. So I looked at all of these roles as becoming a well-rounded software professional. And I would say that that's what I am today. Being a process-oriented and process-driven person, that's the reason I moved from core development to quality assurance, automation, and testing, where I wanted to develop and mold the team and have a team working on the processes as well. So that change from development to quality assurance was another major change in my professional journey. But yeah, overall, the journey has been pretty good. And in the managerial role, in the senior role as the automation and quality assurance person, was very happy to develop a team who went from a completely non-automation business unit to a well-centered and a well-owned automation unit. So that's what one of my professional development was. And yeah, so finally, I was also working in demo development and level 2 support. So that gave me a good understanding of what the customer needs are. The way we look at it and how the customer looks at it is a lot of time different. And customers' issues and customers' queries are different. When we start fixing their issues and software bugs, it gave a direct exposure. Then there came a point when we were doing helping the team doing demos to the software demos to the customers. And those were different challenges where we had to fix some issues where the live demo is going on and some issue has come. And then we used to sit behind and help them out. So yeah, overall, as I said, a long journey, but a pretty good one, I would say.
So, which of your roles and responsibilities have you enjoyed the most and have the most learnings from?
Well, I would definitely put my role as a senior manager in Oracle as the role which I have enjoyed the most, primarily for two reasons. One is because I was having a complete freedom to implement whatever initiatives and whatever thoughts, whatever ideas that I had. I had a very good team, so I was able to lead them, as I was saying, from a completely a business unit not using automation at all to a team which became self-sufficient in automation. And some of the software components that we were using, we started actually having automation to the extent of the fact that 95% of the product was automated, and it was one of the biggest achievements. So that's again, I think I would say that most fulfilling role that I have had. From a challenging perspective, again, quality assurance is a challenging domain. I would put my role in the quality assurance in another organization where I worked, where there were too many moving pieces and too many stakeholders, too many teams, lot of integrations between various software components. So that was a very, very challenging role. And more than the software quality aspect, managing the stakeholders was more challenging. So I would say that was the challenging part.
So, what are some values and principles that you hinge your professional success on?
So I have two basic principles which I tell my teams whenever I join a new team, and I keep repeating this. And those who have worked with me, they know quite a lot those statements which I make in the team meetings. So the first is always do what you say, and say what you can do. So commit to only the things that you can do and always do what you say. So that's the first principle.
Mm.
And the second principle is status quo is not acceptable unless it is the best approach proven. So you can't say that I have been doing this yesterday, I have been doing this today, and tomorrow also I will be doing the same thing. You have to find out areas of improvement, and I'm pretty sure that everybody, whether it is at a individual level or at a team level or at a organizational level, we all have parts, we all have components which can be improved. So you have to find out those components, you have to find out those areas, and then you have to work in improvement of those areas. So that's the second thing which I always tell my team. And I look for significance in my role. In my roles and responsibilities, I look for significance more than the monetary part of it, and the same goes with the team. Skills and qualifications can be learned, can be built, but I look more for attitude in the team to learn and to perform. So that's those are the key values and principles that I kind of long for.
So, how and when did you develop an interest in ESG and corporate governance?
Okay, well, that's interesting because ESG as a term I came to know about only a few days back, or rather a few months back. About a decade back or so, ESG was not that popular term used in corporate governance and all these things. We had things like, oh, there is ISO processes that we have to develop, and or probably so my basically what happened was that my interest was there in aspects of environment development, environment maintenance. So I used to participate in initiatives from the organization, like the plantation drives or the blood donation drives, and things like to arrange awareness about what you call environment, and participating in kids initiatives, all those things. So I had worked in in those areas. Then I was also involved in, as I said, in ISO, implementing ISO processes in the organization. So while I was participating in these activities, especially on the environment and this side, social responsibility side, I realized that it's very less that we are doing. It's like we need to do still a little, not little, but a lot more. And on the personal front also, when we look at any product or anything that we are using nowadays, a lot of these products are very, very use and throw. Now, they might not be a single use and throw plastics like anything, but even like a small electric razor or something that you are using, they are having plastic parts, and after using for 3-4 years, you are ultimately throwing them because that product has become obsolete. You look at the internet access dongles or all those things. There are 5 such devices which are lying in my home, which have either become obsolete or they have gone bad. So I was trying to understand what I can do more to play my part, to be more socially responsible in these regards. And that's when I was reading about these things, then that kind of developed my interest in environment, social responsibility, this thing. And ultimately, of course, when I read about ESG, so then I thought, yeah, this is probably an area where I can make an impression, make my mark. So that's how it went through, interest in ESG and governance.
As a ESG and corporate governance expert, what values do you bring to the table?
So, so basically, I would say sustenance. That's the main thing. That's what I look at: stability, sustenance. We are here in this environment, in this world, as responsible citizens. We have to play our part, and we are not isolated. A small change in a small ecology somewhere remote plays an important part in the way wherever we are living, geographically distributed or whatever. So as I was saying, that I was finding that we are barely scratching the surface when it comes to environmental responsibilities, social responsibilities. And when I was reaching out to a few leaders in my organization related to this, they were saying, Ashish, this is not our core competency. So I understand your concern, but the thing is, our core competency is software development. Let's focus on that. So many a times what happens, I mean, we have done some good work, I understand, but at the same time, I did see that a lot of these things or a lot of these initiatives were coming from the fact that, okay, we have played our part. Let's put that tick mark in the checkbox, or probably it's a compliance initiative. We have to do this because it's a government regulation. So this is what was my understanding. So then I thought that let's probably do somewhat more in this particular area. And that's where when I think about it, so every industry, so I come from the retail software industry. So whether it is the retail industry or it is the electronics industry or it is the hospitality industries, everywhere we can make a impact in terms of what we are doing. Now, talking about the retail industry, it is like the packaging that we are using. We have to use recyclable material. We have to understand that we have to minimize the packaging material. We are using less plastics. We are recycling. I mean, to all those Amazons and Flipkarts of the world, I mean, something can be built like, can they take the packaging back? You have delivered a product to me. Now, is it something like that I have to use? I don't have any use it for at my home further. So why don't you take it back or give me a platform where I can come and deliver those packaging back to you so that you can recycle or reuse. Similarly, in the electronic industry, I was talking about the set-top boxes, the internet dongles, the mobile phones, everything that we are using. So the big corporations, the big industries, I mean, they can give a platform, or can they give a platform where we can go back and return some of these things? I mean, instead of like, oh, we are throwing the old set-top box away, we are going to purchase a new one. So what do we do about the rate? It is understandable that a lot of these things we can give it into the electronics, what you call recycling, or the responsible demolishing of these artifacts. But many a times people are not doing that. I mean, the awareness of that itself is very low. So they are throwing them, and then these things are getting put in the landfills, etc., which is hazardous. So we have to play our role. I think the larger corporations, the big corporations, probably can give a platform and build an ecosystem where the recycling of these can also be taken up. So that is the governance. That's the kind of thing which I kind of visualize when I look at this. So sustenance is on top of my mind. Climate change and all these things are very, very real. We are observing these things around ourselves. So I think these are the things that which we can play in all these places, in all these industries. I mean, there is much more. I'm pretty sure, but awareness has to be created amongst the people as well, that what we need to do regarding this. So yeah, I think that's what I would say.
So, what are some changes you expect to see in your field with the advent of IoT, AI, ML, blockchain, big data, cloud, digital twin, etc., all these new technologies?
That's quite a mouthful of technical terms, but yeah, I can probably summarize a few on that. So let's start with AI, artificial intelligence. It's kind of the buzzword nowadays. People have started using artificial intelligence, mostly the generative kind of AI, to write articles, to create cartoons, to create designs, and all those things. Now, these are all end user implementations, what we are seeing mostly. And it is good. I mean, it is a lot of things which a lot of output which I have seen is very, very good in these terms. Underlying artificial intelligence, there is huge amount of data, and this data is being churned, generated every day. If you look at industries, what I spoke about, like the retail industry, the banking and financial industry, the hospital, the healthcare industry, the hospitality, hotels, restaurant businesses, all these are generating huge amount of data on a daily basis. Now that data has to be analyzed and churned, and reports need to be produced. So that's where the big data handling tools, Hadoop and all these come into picture. And AI sits on top of it. Now, the software industry has moved from beyond the normal programming, processing, and reporting kind of a work. I mean, those are all something which was kind of novel or unique a few years back or a decade back. It's mundane nowadays. So now people are expecting that we give them more. So this kind of data needs to be analyzed. Today we need smart analysis to be done. Today we need these tools like for artificial intelligence, which can help give us these smart analysis and generate reports. So talking about retail, in the retail, it can help us understand the buyer and sellers trends, buying selling trends. It can help us doing automated inventory management. It can help us track the whole what you call delivery process. We can do predictive analysis, pricing decisions based on area wise. If you want to do some pricing or discounts or anything, so all these which people use to take the data, read it, analyze it, and then generate a report over a period of a month's time or so, AI can definitely help it and generate it for us in a matter of probably minutes. So that's the kind of thing that I look at. Healthcare industry, I think should make use of this artificial intelligence to understand and give better patient care, improving the efficiency in the hospitals and clinics, and robot-assisted surgeries. Sometimes they can also find about the anomalies if they are there in the health records. So these are things which we can look at, and so yeah, so lot of these things. So we will see these things getting implemented with the advent of AI, the AI coming in and sitting on top of this huge amount of data, and that's how we will see the changes coming in. Talking about another term that you mentioned about blockchain. Now, blockchain is a very important technology in terms of the buyer-seller interaction, or wherever there is a transaction which needs to be tracked from beginning to end. Say, for example, I'm a buyer and you are a seller. In today's date, or rather in back days, if I am doing a manual transaction, I buy something from you, you take the money and say, oh, I didn't receive the money, or I didn't give you the money and I say I have already paid you. So these kind of anomalies can exist or could have existed. So what blockchain does is that we already have seen the process management part in the software, which has already come process development. Now blockchain is basically to lock this particular transaction. That is the technology. So where any change is made at any level, at a buyer level or a seller level, all parties involved are informed. All parties involved are getting a notification that yes, there is a change in this transaction. So that is kind of thing, that is the technology. So see, this is also getting automated. And on top of it, if we add that automation, then what happens is we get better reports on top of this as well. And same is the case with the Internet of Things. I mean, few days back or few months back or years back, when we spoke about Internet of Things, people spoke about managing your or operating your washing machine from your mobile phone. But I say that this is a very minuscule implementation and a very novice implementation of IoT, or probably a not so required wasteful implementation of IoT. IoT, when we talk about, is we are going to automate the whole factory floor. That is the real implementation of Internet of Things. Internet of Things is basically you have a chip, you have a tracking mechanism in every device. Now every device is talking to every other device, and then the transactions are happening between those. So those are the kind of things which are happening. So this is kind of making the whole factory ecosystem automated. So those are the things which are happening, and yes, technology is playing a big role in this thing. Technology is going to change the landscape of these things. We are becoming heavily dependent on technology for individuals, for institutions, or integration between institutions, and or integration between an individual and an institution. So that's what is happening. And what will happen eventually is that all of these things will generate a lot of amount of data, what we see. So we are currently sitting on terabytes and terabytes of data. There will be further increase of data, and we will need to increase the capability of processing. So we will have to bring more tools on top of all of this. So that's how the way I see the changing phase of this industry.
So we're building a community here of industry magnates. The move is meant for cross-pollination of knowledge and building a knowledge-sharing community of corporate giants and industry experts. What are your thoughts about this initiative taken by Mr. Zishan Pathan, Mr. Keval Mehta, and the whole World Development Corporation team?
Oh, it's brilliant. I think it is brilliant. I mean, we have seen multiple examples of solutions being implemented in one team or one organization or one geography of an organization, but the same solution or the same technology is not being used or implemented in other parts of the world or other parts of the organization. Now, this is a major problem, and if I remember, there was a research done a few years back regarding the lost opportunity cost in this. So in one of the trainings that I had attended, they were mentioning that the leaders not talking, the department heads not talking about these technologies or these changes being implemented has a very high cost. And if we are integrating all of these things, I think it is brilliant. I mean, we should have more platforms like this. We should have more things so that we share knowledge, so that we can do make the efforts better, and at the same time, our progress will be much faster. So that's the way I look at it.
Great, sir. It was fantastic conversing with you, and I'm confident that your insights will truly inspire future leaders. Thank you so much once again for joining us today, sir, and wish you the best for your future endeavors.
Thank you, Taning. Pleasure was mine. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.